Hello and welcome back to another exciting edition of Points of Interest. I'm Gary Gauldin.
I'm Brad, B-Rad Alston.
That's right, B-Rad. Hey, we're back. It's been a little bit since we were around, but we're going to get ready for another show. We've been so busy, got a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get this show off the ground. Exploring the people, places, and technology in the growing drone industry. This is the Points of Interest Dronecast. Hey, wow, been a good summer so far, hasn't it?
It's gotten hot.
It really has.
Summer is here.
That's right. We're going to talk about the hot in a little bit because remember we had some drone issues and we were very careful about the heat. Yep. We'll talk about that in our tech portion coming up. But I like to start off with something I do almost every time we have a guest, and that's start off with them. I met online a really wonderful person. Her name is Kim Players, and I met her through you, really, because since I've become friends with Brad, and he hooked me up with like Captain Ray Kelly, and the amount of people in that group of people is unbelievable. And so every time I see somebody that looks like they're an enthusiastic drone person, I friend them, and try to keep that going.
Well, same goes for me on Facebook. I mean, I've seen people, pop in and say, hey, you might want to be friends with this person, and you're a friend with them. So yeah, it's cool. And I'm friends with, I don't know, 500-600 drone people around the world.
Well, I have to give all my credit to him. He has already known the entire world knows B-Rad. It's so funny. But I got to meet Kim Players, and we sat down for a really great interview. Really didn't sit down. We did this over the net. But Kim is so cool, and she runs a thing called Master Your Drone. So let's take a look at Kim. Hi, Kim. Kim Players, welcome to the show.
Hi, Gary. Great to be here.
Wow, we're super excited about having you, Kim. I have, just kind of found out about you in a couple of weeks here, and when I've been finding lots of new friends. I was on the Ray Kelly podcast a couple weeks ago, and met a lot of people, and through that I keep connecting with new people, and you were one of those people, and I saw your website, and immediately I was like, holy cow, this is so cool. First of all, because it's a woman, I love that. Okay, I love the fact that you're not 16 or 19 or whatever, but you had this thing, and that what struck me was Master Your Drone. Tell me about Master Your Drone.
Well, thank you so much. And yeah, I know people just like you know people, so that's what's so great about being in the drone industry is just all the connections. That's why I love social media to use for connections, because you find out all the people that know each other. And then, when you call them up, it's like, hey, you know this person, and it's like we already are friends, right?
It's a very small world.
In the drone industry, and being in the drone industry is a unique tribe. So it's like aviation. I've never met an aviator, and especially since I'm in drones, we're in aviation, right? And I meet more like helicopter pilots and, people that fly airplanes, pilots, and they're just such passionate people. And I really feel like I've been looking for this tribe all my life, because I've always been a super enthusiastic dreamer, do stuff that other people don't do. And I've been looking for this tribe all my life, and then when my first drone came into my life, it was like, ah!
Well, tell me about that. Tell me about when that first.
Yeah, so I started in drones about 10 years ago. When I was 49, I love helping people meet their goals. So if you have a goal, like I can't stand it if people don't pass the Part 107, like because you've given. When people call, I always ask them, "What's your drone dream?" And then it's like, blah, 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 right? So I want to hear what their goal is. Their goal is so I can help them implement those steps to get there. It's kind of like that. I'm a visionary, so that vision that I already see them where they want to be, right? And then building that confidence and competence to get them. So for myself with the drones, I was a public speaker. I gotten out of personal fitness training because I wanted to eat carbs. So I got out of personal fitness training, and I started doing, leadership training and inspirational speaking. And it really, quite frankly, after 2008, 2009, 2010, when we took that turn, it was just boring. And quite frankly, I don't like to be bored. I like to keep moving forward, right? So I was like, this is boring. I got to find something new. And so when I was 49, I just said, Lord, I want to work outside. I started praying. I said, I want to work outside. I'm tired of being stuck inside. My dad was in the Navy. I moved 19 times in 18 years, and we always lived on the water because he was in the Navy. So I lived in Hawaii and California, and I love the water. So I wanted to be outside. And of course, our generation, Gary, we spent a lot of time outside. I was at a speaking engagement with a colleague that had a drone at the Helicopter Museum in Westchester, Pennsylvania. And I'm like, dude, what is that? And it was an Inspire One. And I was just in awe of it. It was like so beautiful. So anyway, I said, can you teach me how to fly one of those? So he's like, yeah. So I joined his program. It was very big money because he was the only one. And you couldn't get a Part 107. So to fill in our time, he had this really cool physicist come in, and we're still great friends. And he came in, and to fill in the time of this 8-week course, we learned how to build a quadcopter, and we learned how to build a hexacopter. And I remember when I flew that hexacopter, I remember my other friends that were in the group with me, they're like, Kim, like when you fly that hexacopter, it's like you just like become this whole different person, like you totally take charge, right? And that, it was an education type of thing, which I love education, and a training type of thing. So I started a business.
Wow. And so that business, great name. I mean, it couldn't be a better name. Master Your Drones, and you help people to master their drone. So tell me what is that typically? What does a course or class feel like? Walk me through that.
So really, like, the whole thing with I've met a lot of guys and women that do the RC, the RC planes and helicopters that are really hard, right? And I saw them, they had really great skills on drones. And then I used to go to a place that they did the drone racing with the micro minis in the wintertime. And they had like this whole insight. They took an old Nike outlet and they put in all these obstacles, and we'd go in there and we'd be there to, I'd be there to help sign up people and stuff. But they'd go in and they'd have these competitions. And it was just so different than anything I experienced. But the one thing that I really admired about these drone racers were their mad skills on the sticks. And I'm like, that is the key, right? Because once you learn your sticks and you get that orientation down, and it becomes muscle memory for you, and that takes time. Everybody's muscle memory is different, right? And it takes practice over and over. It's the foundation. But once people learn that muscle memory, then you can fly any drone.
Sure.
And that's the interesting thing about it. Like I can fly FPV. I've had people come in and they're like, I keep crashing my drone. Can you teach my wife how not to crash her drone? She flies FPV. She builds her own. So she comes in. We always have drone simulators we start them out on. And then also, like a lot of times people think because they're great at gaming that they're going to be good at drones. And I really have not seen that. I really have not seen that. If anything, like I'll say to somebody that's, in their 20s and 30s, they'll come in and they're like trying to do that twitchy stuff, right? On the simulator. I'm like, I said, I can't figure out why you keep crashing. And then I look at their thumbs. I'm like, oh, you're playing like a gamer. You need to calm down because you can't fly like that outside.
Yeah.
I always say, and master your drone. We're not a bunch of bells and whistles. We're like the, primary school from kindergarten to, high school of drones, right? We're going to teach your foundations, and then you got it. Then it's up to you to get out there and figure out what is going to be your specialty. What's going to be your specialty, and then learn as much as you can about it. Don't fake it, right? But, in that learning process, like you're saying, with the controller, I've met so many people that like if I have a drone meetup or I go up to a friend's house to fly and we're out flying and she has the same drone as mine and I do like a couple of the intelligence modes. She goes, my drone doesn't do that. What? Your drone does? My drone does. I said, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Like people don't even know what's going on in that app, right? And they don't realize, it kind of reminds me of like Phil Collins. He could play the drums and sing. Like what a talent when you see anybody that can play the drums and sing, right? I mean, it's just all going on, right? And kind of like that controller reminds me of that because you got to remember which way the gimbal is. You got to be able to adjust your camera. You got to take it smooth. You got to take it fast. You got to keep an eye on your battery. You got to keep an eye on your airspace. There's a lot going on, but that challenge is what is so stimulating if you're not scared.
Well, tell me of your, as you've been teaching, any great stories or highlights of any particular person that you got from, 0 to 100.
Yeah, there's just so many. I mean, we do a lot of individuals, but I will tell you one of our when we started doing corporate, like corporate, the industry is always fluctuating. So
Yeah.
sometimes I remember in the very beginning, people would hire drone pilots, and now companies are starting to have their own drone pilots. So they'll send people in. But we went to a big pharmaceutical company, and they wanted to get three Matrice 30s. And
Hmm.
these are people that are overworked, and they get paid well, they get the benefits, but it's balls to the walls at school, at work. It's like, they don't have enough time in their day to get everything done, right? So like to be able to set up an indoor training facility for them. So they gave us a building, we set up an indoor flight course that we used indoor drones with, and we had the simulators. So we started them on the simulators, then we did the indoor course. And just to watch these men and women that were like in their late 50s and their early 60s that have worked so hard all their life to provide for their families, to see the joy in their lives. Like I said, Rick, he's like, oh, sticking his tongue. I said, Rick, you look like a 10-year-old kid flying that drone. He's like, I feel like a 10-year-old kid flying that drone. Like, just to see the joy on their face, and they couldn't wait. They want more. They want more. Nobody's on their camera. Nobody's, unless they're taking pictures of us,
Right.
nobody's on their camera. Nobody's checking their text. They're like, they can wait. And then to take them outside and then let them experience, like, I just love taking people out in that first flight, and that taking them up, like, okay, we're going to take it up to 150 feet. Whoa, right? Okay, check the air. We're taking it up to 400. And they're like, heart is pounding out of their chest, but they're like, wow, and I forget what that's like,
Right.
and it's just so awesome. And the smile and the energy, like the whole thing is, I'm a high energy person, and to go in and the drones are my assistants to raise the roof, it
Right.
just is such a joy. So, like, being in that corporate aspect and giving these hardworking Americans that break and that joy is wonderful for me, because I come
Sure.
from an inspirational goal setting background, and then seeing them advance. And then we've had a lot of young people come through. Like, usually in the summertime we're really busy with during COVID we were really busy with 16, 17, 18 college students, grandmothers, mothers are calling me, fathers are calling me, like, we don't know if our kids can be able to finish school or college, like, we think he should learn how to fly, or she should learn how to fly a drone.
Right.
So they come in, and then a lot of them are making money while they're in high school. They might be getting paid $25 an hour filming the football coaching, football practices.
So, what is your favorite drone to fly?
Right now, I just really love flying. I travel a lot. I love to travel. Once again, I was a Navy brat. I'm always looking for adventure. So I
Hmm.
do love to travel with my drone, and I do have the Mavic Air 3, and I just
Hmm.
think it's such a fun drone. It's a drone that as a woman, I don't want to carry two backpacks onto because you got to carry your batteries on, like 4 or 5 batteries. I don't want to carry a big drone onto the plane. So that Mavic Air, um, and I had Mavic Air 2, and I have like an Inspire and stuff like that. But these drones are
Sure.
just so easy to travel with. Plus, I took it out to Utah, and I can't mention the heights that I flew and the distance I flew, but it's Utah, and it's over
Yeah.
those buttes that they have out there. And that baby, she never let me down. She
Hmm.
was like on point, coming home to mama every single time.
Well, listen, I'm going to talk to you about your team. You've got a team of people working with you at Master Your Drone. And I noticed, for one thing, there were several other women, which is really cool. I love to see that. We were talking about Alicia, who you saw on one of my other casts. And, there's Kim Mirzwa, who was also on a past cast. We love to see women getting into this because it's still the anomaly, to some degree. But you've got a team of 2 or 3 women on your team. Tell me about it.
I do. I do. I like to. I've done a lot of work for. Like, I've spoke for a lot of organizations. Women in Drones, represented them. Women Who Drone, because they all started when I started. I mean, Sharon Rossmark and I, we both started our businesses at the same time, and I mean, Sharon was such a great, promoting each other and helping each other go along. And Women Who Drone, they invited me to speak at. There's a lot of support there. She invited me to come down, and I got to speak at the um, DJI headquarters in New York City. I was a guest speaker there. That was really cool. So Sherry Williams, she works for the her husband's a senator, and I remember when I first introduced her to drones, we went out for lunch, and she's a fashion model and stuff, and I'm like started talking to her about drones, and she just kept on ignoring me, and she's like, talking about fashion, and we're enjoying our vegan food or whatever we had, and I'm like, man, she's not even responding. And so I'm like, is there a field around here? And she goes, yeah. I said, I got to show you something. And so we went to the field, and I pulled out that drone, and she still was like, didn't know what's going on. But when I took that up and she saw herself in that camera, this woman like grabbed that controller. You got to show me how to do this. So she owns like she's involved in the soccer, drone soccer, which is really cool. That's a big thing that's going on. I have a couple of friends that do that. But yeah, women in the drone industry, um, a lot of women are coming from tech fields, and the aspect of doing something that is active instead of sitting. I think a lot of women are ready for that. They're enjoying going out and traveling, having a drone. So Natalie's on our team. We met when she was going to be going out to San Diego when I was in San Diego. So she came through our program, and she's in Philly. Her and I, we went to Utah together. We travel a lot. Um, it is like on a lot of these drone expeditions that I've done and stuff. It would be like 6 men and 1 or 2 women, and we are unique. But I feel like that even makes it more fun.
Sure.
So we have all women drone hangouts at my office. So we'll have all women come down, which is always very helpful. Like I've been to men where there's all men flying, and they usually are just everybody's in their own zone and wants to fly. But with the women, when we have just the women, then they're here like, oh, you want to fly my FPV, and they'll show each other how to fly. So I love supporting other women. I love supporting any culture or ethnicity, because I want people to know that no matter how old you are or whatever color you are or culture you are, you have equal, domain in drones. You can learn it too. So Natalie's from Philly. Parth is our main Part 107 pilot. He came to me when he was 20, and he had his private pilot's license, and he didn't fly drones, taught him how to fly drones. He's now a commercial pilot, and he's our main instructor, but he's 25, and he's non-intimidating. I guess that's what I like about, having women on board or having younger folks working with us, is they're non-intimidating.
I understand you live in Philadelphia. I'm sure you do the classes in Philadelphia. Do you do the classes across the country, or will you do the classes across the country?
Yeah, we do. We travel. It's easy to travel. It's easy to take our drones. It's easy to travel. Sometimes we've had some corporate events where we've done them, where we have, like law firms come in and they want to have something fun to do. So we'll do like a drone, where they can learn how to fly small drones, and we take them out and might have 4 or 5 pilots with us, and we'll have 4 or 5 different drone stations where we have a certain system where they get to try the sticks where we're right there. Very specific and always been safe. So we can travel to do that. And then, like we travel, to New Jersey. I've been out to San Diego. So yeah, we do travel. I wouldn't be having fun if I wasn't traveling. And I do love traveling in Philadelphia. And we have people that come in from all over the country that learn how to train with us. We specifically cater to the greater Philadelphia area, and then we have a lot of people. So we're close to our office is close to Delaware, Maryland, and New Jersey, and New York. So we have people come in from those areas.
So where do you like to fly in Philadelphia? Is there any good spots?
We like to go down to the city. I mean, a lot of people like to fly down at the museum, the art museum. So that's a cool place to fly. Going along Boathouse Row is a really cool place to fly because it's lit up at night. You got the water. You got the when the sun comes down, it's shining on the buildings, all the big, beautiful skyscrapers. I mean, I always felt that Philly has a really pretty skyline, and so that's really nice because you got those mirroring windows, so it reflects off of that. And then also on Boathouse Row, they have all their rowing teams. So, when we're out there, sometimes you have the rowing teams, and it's when the sun's coming down, and it's just some of the shots that we've gotten are just, it's almost like you can't take a bad picture. But anyways, maybe I've just gotten really good at my photography.
That's cool. Well, one thing I wanted to also, we kind of talked about this before we started the air, was that we're not spring chickens. We're, in our 60s.
Speak for yourself, Gary.
Well, I'm going to be 63 here in just a couple of days, and I know a lot of people, this is what's interesting to me, is that a lot of people I've interviewed, and a lot of my friends in the business, are not spring chickens in the way that they're not 25.
They're not as young as people would think technology would be.
Right.
Yeah.
For instance, Ken Herron. I've interviewed Ken. Ken's one of the most famous people on the internet, and he's great. He's funny, and he's an older guy. Scott Shrimple, which is a mutual friend we have on Facebook. Scott just graduated, sort of. He just had to retire from United Airlines, and because he turned 65. But he's been in droning since the very, very beginning. He's amazing, and he's still involved in it. And hopefully, since he's coming back home, him and I are going to do more together. I was thinking of other people that I knew. Matter of fact, you mentioned other aviators. Do you know who Patty Wagstaff is? Patty Wagstaff is an unbelievable pilot for like flips and turns and aerobatic flying. And I mean, Patty must be 70 now and still flying.
Wow, that's awesome.
Captain Ray Kelly, one of the most popular people on the internet too, about his stuff. Ray is from New York. He lives in Florida now, and Ray's over 60. It's just kind of amazing how many of us are just not young, but we are in this business, and we're helping to push this business. And I'm really proud of that fact, but I'm almost surprised by that fact for whatever reason. What do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
Because, excuse me, Gary, but do you have a pulse?
Yeah, still do.
So if you have a pulse, you have a purpose. That's why it is.
Yeah.
If you have a pulse, you have a purpose, right? And we had mentioned it before. I'm 61, and I got into it when I was like 51 or 2, right? So, it's, we didn't make the decision today, and I'm not saying I wouldn't start it today, but, maybe we started like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and we saw a opportunity that, and we've lived a while, that we'd never heard of,
Right.
And, we've experienced, different aspects over the years, being baby boomers, of like, wow, remember when the phone came out? It was like this big, and you had to have the antenna, and it was $200 a minute, right? And now we all have phones, right? So I feel like that whole, when you think about that phone and you see a drone, it's like, and you fly it with a phone.
Right.
We saw the future. So now you're taking the phone, you're taking the kite aspect of aviation and flying, and then you're adding, current technology, and it's like, wow, why wouldn't I want to do something like that? It's like getting in at the ground level, right? So, we're paving the way for the future. We're literally setting the standards. Yeah. And so I feel like because we are in our 50s and 60s and 70s, we are the ones that should be setting the standards.
I am not going to keep us any longer, but I do want you to give the audience a little information on how to get in touch with you. We'll put it on the screen. We'll also put it in the comments portion here in YouTube. But tell people how to get in touch with you so they can hire you to do what you do, and that is for them to master their drone.
Well, hello, audience. I would love to talk with you. So my name is Kim Players, and you can find me on Facebook, and it's Players with an S. You can find me on Instagram. The company is Master Your Drone. We're also, on Instagram and Facebook. And, the website is masteryourdrone.com, master, Y-O-U-R, masteryourdrone.com. And we'd love to help you, or if you know somebody in the area that wants some help with drones, we're here for you. If you need a consultation, just to have some insight on how you want to get started or where you want to go, we're definitely here. We're definitely in it to make your drone dreams come true.
Awesome. Well, Kim, thank you so much for taking the time. and being a part of the show. I can't wait to share this with the
Come
audience.
on, Gary, we could drone on and on and on.
We could.
Thank you so much for having me.
I look forward to, hopefully there'll be a time when maybe we could, meet in Virginia, or I have a sister that lives up in Philly, and actually fly some drones together. That would be a real thrill.
Oh, that would be great.
We will see you soon.
Thank you. It was great to be with you and your audience.
All right. Pretty cool interview, right?
Yeah, that was nice. There's a lot of cool information and stuff that she does.
I know. And, she's so positive. I love that about her. She's our age, which is really cool. We talked about that and the fact that how she talks about how the pulse, she said, with people that our age, as long as we have a pulse, we're going to move and do and shake and dance. And that's something I really love about her. Tons of energy, and she's doing her thing, teaching it to other people, whether they be enthusiasts or professionals who need to learn how to fly the drone.
Right.
I love that about her. And another female in this great.
More the merrier. We need that. We need male, female, all the above.
Sure. When we go to these meetups, though, it's mostly guys, right?
It is. A bunch of old farts.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of young people as well.
That's right. But speaking of which, as far as that goes, we'll get to some events later, but you and I are getting ready to go to what?
Minefield Meet 6.0.
Right.
And it's Ken Herron's kind of his birthday bash kind of meetup, and it's in Brownsville, Tennessee.
Right, near Nashville. And
near Memphis more than Nashville.
This is Minefield 6.0, right? So if you don't know, there's a website, right?
It is, and it's called minefieldmeet.com.
There you go. And you can find out more about that too. If you want to find out about it, you can go on to our page, I Fly Drones, under events, and it's got all kinds of information about that. But let's get on to the stuff we've been doing this week. It's been a crazy week, as we were saying before. It's been hot. I'm actually sweating right now. You can probably see my hair still wet. But we went out this last couple of weeks, right? We were doing some RTK stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the real interesting things that happen right now when it gets this hot, and I believe one of our good friends, Michael, even put a bulletin out there on some of the websites. Watch your batteries. When it gets this hot, there's actually about 40 Celsius, 90 some degrees, and you start pushing that battery, it gets way up there, 120, 130. It
gets dangerous.
Right.
Yes.
And so what we did at RTK, you remember, we came home early. We didn't take it to the end. We ran it about 50%. And then what do we do?
Swap the batteries out and keep an eye on that battery life. And I guess the next battery we did the same thing. And then also kept the drone out of the sun when we weren't flying it.
Right. Yeah, we actually put the our cover, which our little canopy, we put it over top of the drone until we were ready to fly. Right. Just because
keep it as cool as we could.
We were hot.
We were hot, but we were pushing the limits of the drone and the batteries.
Absolutely. And we even tried to go early. For our first flight, we did it about 7:30 a.m. But our second flight was in Lynchburg. Took us a while to get there, and we were flying closer to noon. And it was it
was already 92ish, and that was just the air temperature. The feels like temperature was a lot higher, which will affect the drone.
So be careful. Be looking at that battery, making sure that you don't let it get overheated. Could be the failure if it stops. It's just going to drop that drone to the ground. So we had that, and one thing, most of the time Brad's been going out with me doing a lot of the mapping stuff. He's usually my VO, or he takes over the drone. But the case is, you've been kind of busy lately, and you want to tell people that you've... Been working around the house the last week or so, trying to get caught up on a few odds and ends. The honey-do list, which is mostly that long. I mean, it's about 10 pages long, and that's not an exaggeration on a spreadsheet. Right.
But we put down everything and kind of keep track of it to some degree. A little ADD there and bookkeeping type of thing for me. So anyway, all that being said, working with you the last 6 months or so, a little bit longer than that actually. Right. It's been fun, and I'm going to continue to do that from time to time and stay in the drones. But I have found a full-time job. I had to get back into the working world on that side. Not that I haven't been working with you,
no.
But have to get back into it.
You can make a lot of money in that job, so you take that job. But I'm going to miss you on these jobs. I took one of our new friends, is Fred Chamberlain. Fred just got his 107. I have to kind of brag. Fred is 70 years old. So if you think you're too old, he's 70 years old, and he got his 107 just in the last few weeks. Then he got himself the Matrice 4E.
Nice drone.
I took him out with me. We had a job down at Virginia Beach, and I said, bring your drone. And so we put the KML and we took it up and we flew that mission with that drone, and it was awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. I got a little clip right here of Fred and I out there flying the drone. Here it is. So we just took off, and Fred, tell me about what we're doing.
This is the first mission on my new Matrix 4E here with Gary, and he's teaching me the ropes. And we're going to see how this goes.
All right.
We'll let you know in about 25 minutes.
How much battery you got left right now?
We got 77%.
Very good. And how far into the mission are we?
We are in, I don't know.
All right, you go to that, you can see your percentage. What does that say?
We are 25 minutes left.
Yep.
And we got about 450 photos more.
Very good. All right.
And we're 10% down.
Here it is. There we go.
There we go.
So anyway, that was Fred and I out there flying that new drone. Matter of fact, that brings us up to my first story. That drone he got out of California from DSLR Pros, a great company. I kind of started looking around, and you know what the big news is right now for DJI.
Yeah. So DJI is no longer has anything in their shop for sale for the U.S.
Out of stock.
Out of stock, and rightly so. I suspect it's because a lot of their stuff's being turned away, being held up in customs and tariff type stuff, and some of the shipping companies are doing things that are not actually what the tariffs are supposed to do. They're holding it up. But anyway,
taking advantage of the whole situation.
Taking advantage of it. So the customers, us, everybody, you, the viewers, are saying, no, we can't wait for it. Just send it on back. You know, we're not paying the extra tariffs.
Yeah, and of course, the other thing that DJI has said publicly is that they feel that dealing with the U.S. right now is a hostile environment. And I can get that. I mean, right now, not only do we have the tariff thing that's kind of been working through that thing, and I don't know what your political views are. I agree with what he's trying to do to get things back to even. So that's something we're all going to take a lot of pain until that becomes a reality. But the other part of this is DJI knows that they're under the scrutiny of this big bill that has put a lot of pressure for them to be compliant with all these regulations and rules, plus the new incentives from the U.S. on this bill that has passed is that they have to push U.S. products first. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I couldn't be a bigger U.S. citizen. The problem is we probably all know that it's watching the show, is DJI is still like the best product there is out there. So until we can get U.S. building stuff that is of that quality and, you know, the type of technology that's in it.
And the
service is great through DJI. And the price. I mean, the price is still incredible. You can still buy a great drone for $2,000 or $3,000. The same drone in U.S. is probably $10,000. And that takes a lot of people out of this game, and I hate to see that happen. But anyway, with that hostile environment, across their site, as we'll show right here, it says out of stock, out of stock, out of stock on every single item that flies. Still got the microphones, still got the Osmo, you know, what other, you know, their new power bank, by the way, new power bank came out.
2000.
Yeah, that's going to be cool, right? I'm going to have to get one of those. But, and what I started to say about with Fred, I actually got nervous. I said, oh no, I really want a Matrice 4E bad. You know, it's a great product. So I got online. I talked to the same people that Fred bought his from out there. DSLR Pros are also known as DroneFly, not to be confused with iFly drones, and got one of the last ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
And what's even more interesting is if you didn't buy from their stock, DJI has stopped honoring the refresh for that series.
Refresh.
Right. So that's no longer on the. Mine is still good because I bought it from stock that it had already been in existence before they made that change.
Right.
So I'm very lucky from that standpoint.
And I think people with existing care refresh on some products are having issues getting some things fixed as well. I haven't heard a lot of that. I've heard a lot of positive things about them sending it back to some of these sites in U.S. For care refresh, and they're getting back sometimes a whole new drone or repaired drone. So that hasn't gotten out of hand yet, but I suspect that's going to be the next level. Yeah,
that has been a while. So really a lot of stuff going on there. And been exciting. Now let's go to real quickly before I let you get into your events going on. We used to do a lot of times when Prac was co-host. We did the Prac's tips, right? They were always stuff. Now one of the tips that Prac's not with us today, and because Prack has been having the hardest time. You know, he fixes all these drones.
Right.
We bring them in from other people. We have our drones fixed by Prack, and he can't get parts. I mean, right now it is just impossible. I just got a drone back from him yesterday. I think he's had it for like 2 months. He's trying to get a part, and so it's been really tough out there too on parts. So if you need your drone fixed, be careful. It may take you a while. So make sure you got a backup if you need to have a drone on a regular basis. If you're doing real work with it, think about a backup. And if you can get one, you might look on eBay right now, since you're not going to get a new one likely. You know, buy up some of that stuff and keep yourself stocked up with whatever drone you might need, because we might not be able to get out of this for a little bit.
Well, this might not be a tip; it might be more of an opinion. But in talking to some of my drone friends, there's talk about keeping what you have, because if you sell it and if you have a business, you want to definitely keep and have a backup as you have. You got redundancy,
right?
But you're not going to be able to get these drones, at least for a little bit, until we get through this mess. Hopefully, we get through it. But hold on to what you have, and don't sell it off unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah, good. And you know, going back to the hot, we talked about how hot it is right now. A buddy of mine, Fabian, came up with a tip for us. When he does real estate stuff, he goes in and does all his interior pictures first, and takes a couple of batteries that he's going to use for his drone, and puts them in the refrigerator of the house that he's doing. And so that the batteries are actually cold. And when he pulls them outside to go do his flights outside when it's super hot, it takes a little while for the cold battery to start to warm up to a normal temperature,
right,
and therefore kind of keeping it out of the red, right?
Yeah, and I've also heard of people carrying coolers and putting them in their coolers, not in the ice, but like ice packs or
Great
something.
idea.
And they just keep them cool.
All right, well, that's enough of our tips. Let's take a look at events.
Okay, yep. As we mentioned earlier, we got Minefield Meet 6.0 coming up in Brownsville, Tennessee. That's going to be August 23rd and 24th. That's a Saturday and Sunday. There's going to probably be upwards of 75 to 100 people there. Last year was great. I've been to 4 out of the last 5, I think it was. This one's 6.0. There's going to be, around the minefield alleys, the structures that this guy by the name of Billy Tripp has, and he's built all this metal structure. It's like artwork. And you'll be able to fly FPV, any type of drones around that. But we're also going to have tethered balloon rides. They're going to have a VTOL copter there like we had last year.
That is a drone you can get in.
Yep, a manned drone, but there won't be rides for that. But,
yeah.
There'll also be some other events going on there as well.
Yep, and I'm going for my first time. I wanted to go last year. There were some circumstances that didn't allow me to go, but this year I'm going to Minefield.
Yep.
So look for me, Ken.
Yep, we're going to be there. We're going to ride together, I think, if it all works out right.
That's right.
Even with my new job coming, I've already kind of worked out that I'm going to have that long weekend. So going backwards a month or so, this month in July, there's a thing called FPV Palooza, and that's in the Chicago, Illinois area.
There you go.
There's some friends of mine, Michael and Sergio Toto, and some of their FPV guys. It's called the Quad Mafia. There's a bunch of guys in that. That's
Chicago.
In Chicago. And so it's July 18th through the 20th. It's near Chicago. I'm looking here and it's saying Hoffman Estates, Illinois. I'm not sure where that is in relation to Chicago.
Just outside of town. Yeah.
Yep, just outside of town. So they'll have a bunch of events for 3 days there.
Cool.
And then going beyond all that, in September, there's a brand new event. It's the first annual. It's called the Northeast U.S. Drone Meetup, and it's in Providence, Rhode Island. And a bunch of my friends are going. I'm going to miss out this year because of the new job. I'm not going to ask for that off. So that's September 5th through the 7th. They've got a website set up for ordering T-shirts and registering, and we'll have all that for you as well.
And coming up in September too, I don't think you have it on your sheet.
I don't.
But that's the big UAS
That's right.
Expo, right?
It is in Vegas.
Yes, and we've got tickets. Although you won't be able to use yours.
No. So that I had a ticket for that, and we've had accommodations and everything.
Yeah, UAV Expo coming up, and that's going to be awesome.
It's in September 2nd through the 4th in Caesars Forum, Las Vegas.
Huge
event.
Yeah, and so if you're really into the drone world and you want to meet everybody in the drone world, they will probably be there for that week. And I'm going to be there just kind of in awe. I'm sure just going from exhibit to exhibit going,
It's going to be kind of like a CES event, which you haven't been yet either, have you?
No, I've never been. I've been to NABs, but never to CES.
That's probably better. I went to CES this year, and that just blew me away. And this is probably in the drone world like a CES. I will say this again and reiterate what he said earlier. If you want to find out more about these events, of course, we'll have some of that information maybe in the description, maybe in the video, but go to iflydrones.com and go to the events page, and we have that stuff listed there.
Yep, awesome. Yep, right. Like it says right in front of us. So you go there, get that done, and if you have any other questions, you can always call us here at iFly Drones. We're easy to find at iflydrones.com, and be glad to help you out with anything. Also, we're heading out of here. Man, we're going to wrap it up right now, but we're doing some fun tonight. We've been working with Airloom. And Airloom is our local drone show company.
Drone light shows.
Yeah, drone light shows. And so we, in fact, we're doing about 4 in the next few days.
That's right.
So, of course, it's July 4th coming up. I don't know when we got this to air, but we got one tonight, the 3rd. We have one on the 4th, and then one on the 5th, and then another one a few days later after that.
Right.
And so we're having a blast working with that, putting 100 to 200 drones in the air and making them do these incredible things, beautiful light shows. So, and we're learning a lot about how that works. It's
pretty cool.
Really cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So anyway, that's where we're headed. So we got to get out of here.
Yep.
We
got to leave here very shortly.
Hey, thanks for watching. And one more little tip: if you like the Kim Players interview, we made a shorter version that we showed on this show. The full interview, and because it was quite lengthy, it was over 35 minutes, 40 minutes almost. But she had a lot to say. It will be on my YouTube. So you go on the same YouTube channel, you'll find the entire interview. Tune it in and enjoy it. I mean, she's really good and a wonderful person, a lot of good info. And if you need her, her info is there because she does teach how to master your drone. Hey, look, that's going to do it for us. I'm Gary.
I'm Brad. Be rad.
And fly safe.